All right. Take number 432.
Just to get the intro right.
Oh, all righty. But this is like a 30-second intro.
That's fine. You can just talk over it.
100%.
This is our first episode. You just
This
need to let
is true.
it play.
You just got to let it ride out.
Just let it play. It's a nice jam.
It is.
Nice groove.
You're just going to be sitting in your car just, hey.
I wonder if they meant to make this as an ending.
I think it's
an
just
outro.
I think
It's an outro.
I think it is an outro.
This is at the awards show. Like, okay, time to get off.
Well, we do things different. The outro's our intro, and the intro is going to be our
There it
outro.
goes.
All right,
That's not too bad.
No, it's not that bad. But we got to learn how to change it. We got to do something funky.
We got to make one. I could probably make one.
You could probably make one. Yeah,
Just
I was
make
gonna
something
say that.
simple.
That would be sick.
That would be
Alright.
sick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here we are. First episode of TechNV's
Yeah.
podcast.
Episode numero uno.
Yeah.
And we have Garrett Smith, co-founder and owner of TechNV, myself, Shae Billingsley, another founder and owner of TechNV, and our creative director right here, Devin. Devin, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, because we
Throw
really
you in
don't
the
know. We just saw a
spotlight.
couple videos and we're like, good enough.
Good enough. Good enough.
He did good.
They just accepted me after one sentence.
Exactly.
I got
Alright,
the
you're
name.
hired.
He was like, yeah, just come back tomorrow and film some shit.
So my name's Devin, and as you said, I'm the creative director, and I'm just gonna be focusing on the content side of things. Yeah, that's
All
Really
things
why I'm here?
content.
Yeah.
You see
Dope.
something posted, you know who did it.
that's probably me.
100%. And how old are you, Devin?
I'm 17.
Nice.
17.
Nice. How's life for a 17-year-old?
I
How's
mean,
summer? Summer just started, bro.
Yeah, finally.
Are you still in
Finally.
finals or you
No,
off?
I'm off.
are you
His
off?
last week
Oh.
was last week. Dude was
Oof.
stressed with finals.
Yeah,
I
I
bet.
actually skipped 2 finals.
Oh, did you?
Because I missed a week prior, and then maybe a couple weeks earlier, I missed another week, and I just missed so much finals prep, and the teachers were like, "Yeah, you don't need to take it.
Yeah,
just
just
take
don't
it like
take it.
next year
Yeah,
or summer."
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure you know what you're talking about, though, when you go to the next grade and, when
Oh,
they
yeah.
ask you, like, that's funny. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a little bit about Devin. And then,
Mhm.
The good
With-
old days.
yeah, the good old days. Yeah, Garrett and I are a little bit older. We're,
I showed this guy. He
A little
came in
bit.
last week. He's that marketing guy.
uh-huh.
I showed him some of our videos, and he was like, "Oh man, maybe we should like come in here." I was like, "Psh, "We do it all, man. You want to come in here? We got our boy. He'll film you.
Oh, yeah.
Just do a podcast, and then shoot like a 30-second vid, and boom."
Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
got, we
Business
got our
gotta-
guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Businesses aren't doing podcasts, which is kind of weird. You'd think there'd be like a podcast that just in your city, people just talk about their business.
Like local businesses.
Yeah, like these are all our neighbors here. You think they want to be like dog, talk about dogs, all the crap they see
Yeah,
every day.
because we're located. So TechNV is located in South Reno, right off of Double R, located next to the new DMV here in town. But we have a lot of small businesses, from a Taekwondo studio that's down in our complex, as well as a veterinarian, and there's a CrossFit gym that's pretty popular. A lot of people go there, like all hours of the day. I think they open at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and then they're just going. They have a ton of people coming in their door. And then we have
Then we got the State Farm and all the big guys.
Yeah,
But we
then
got
Rick's Deli.
Rick's.
Rick's Deli is
pretty
really-
popular.
really popular. They make really good sandwiches. But yeah, like you were saying, like a Rick's Deli, imagine them talking about their history and
Yeah,
you
they
know, all
started
that.
when they started here because
Mhm.
they've been here as long as I can remember.
yeah, they've been here for a while, and they
Which
have
isn't
really
saying
good
much.
sandwiches. I just took Devin there.
Really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really good.
Which one did you get
The
me?
Wall Street
The Wall Street. That was
on Dutch Crutch.
mhm.
Yeah, they're very New York based. They got a big portrait in that's New York, right?
Yeah, it's New York. But I don't know if they're New York based, but their theme is like mobster, like gangster themed, like movies.
Like
So that's-
Italian.
Yeah, like
Kinda.
like Italian mob kind of thing. They have like all their sandwiches named after mobsters. Like they have like Bumpy Johnson. They have
Oh,
the
that's right,
Godfather,
Babyface.
Babyface.
That's
yeah,
right.
that's their kind of running theme. But see how cool, like you're saying, like
Mm.
that'd probably be like the owner. She doesn't live here. I know that she lives. Cool story though. So the owner of Rick's Deli, she lives in Michigan, but she used to live here, and I think it was family owned, and she inherited it, and she doesn't have anyone to leave it to. but the people that run it, she's going to leave them the business because they, this married couple, they've been working for her. Yeah, I
Just
know,
take
right?
over a successful business.
Exactly. But they're the management of the company, and they're making it successful because they make the sandwiches, and then they're here every single day. They do catering orders and all of that. So
Yeah, sure
they're really successful. But they'd be really cool to have on the show and just talk about like their day to day and just like understanding like like what does it feel like to be a really successful business, because they are. I mean, when you look up like catering or whatever, they're one of the first ones that comes up for sandwiches and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's not just the sandwich. They're like subs. They make cold subs, hot subs.
Right.
But check out Rick's Deli. That was a free promo.
Yeah. He owes us at least a burger.
I know. It's a free sub. Yeah. But so we're located over here in South Reno. I guess we should start talking about what TechNV is, because I feel like that's the main question that we get. Like, who are you? What do you guys do? We're so curious on what's going on over there. And I feel
we're definitely one of a kind. I haven't seen anything like us before.
Well, and that's kind of the compliment we get a lot, is that a lot of people have never seen, or if they have seen, they say, "Oh, I've heard of one of those in Singapore before." Or like North Korea, like,
Europe.
or Europe or something like that. But we're not really a cafe lounge, or people say like a cyber cafe or internet cafe or something like that. We're a creative venue that kind of supports people that are into guitars, from guitars to gaming, from video games for the PCs, PlayStations, Xboxes,
just
all
a lounge,
consoles. Yeah, come and chill. Like, what was your impression, Devin? Because you're pretty good, I guess. You'd have a really good perspective on what you thought we were before you reached out to us, and then you came in. Like, what did you think was going on here?
So, to get like really like going way back, in Vegas, do you know about the HyperX Esports Arena?
Yes, HyperX.
Okay, so what is it? I went there not too long ago, and I thought it was like a pretty sick place. It like, I thought it was just like a private venue,
Right.
until like I walked in and like, oh, you want to rent like a PCR? I'm like, oh wow, this is sick.
Yeah.
And then once I saw Global Goods reposter thing, I was like, wait, there's like a thing like that here in Reno. Like,
Shout out Global Goods. Shout out Jared.
I would have never expect that, because in the past few years, there's been like a bunch of gaming places that tried stuff but never worked out. Like, I think near the Korean barbecue, EG. What is it? Near there, they used to have a virtual reality place.
Right.
And they quickly closed. Like, not quickly. That's too harsh. They closed down because it didn't work long term. Then at Legends, they used to have a VR headset too. That closed down pretty quickly. It didn't work long term.
Yeah. I think it goes back to marketing correctly, right?
Yeah.
Because something like that's such a niche, right? Like, a lot of people aren't really looking for VR, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with us. A lot of people aren't really looking for us, but that's why we have to push ourselves onto people, right? Show people what we're doing here, and why it's kind of cool to get into it.
But the potential this place has like way more than virtual reality. Like, if you go to virtual reality, you have like,
what you're
it's
getting.
just virtual reality.
You know what you're getting.
But there's like you said, a venue, many possibilities that customers can use the space for.
True.
I feel like if that's all you're doing too, you're kind of setting yourself up, because I feel like then VR is probably pretty expensive, and it might be a one and done kind of experience. Like, that was cool, but
Yeah, I think that's why
Right.
people like went in, because like VR is like really expensive.
Yeah.
And, like, they tried it
it's gotta
out.
be.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
going.
that's the
Good.
selling point on that, right? It's like, come try something that you can't afford. And I think that was kind of like when we were getting into this, like, you have to also remember, Garrett can attest to this, that we really started making motion on this in February. We were eating
I think
dinner.
we just started talking about it in February.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like, oh, that'd be a cool idea.
Yeah. We assumed that it was going to be a really good idea. We assumed a lot of stuff, but we knew that when you have drive and you have passion, and like, Garrett brings a lot to the table when it comes to the guitar and the music side of things that we're doing here. And then I know computers. So we were like, let's just morph all these together and try to create something like cool. I feel like at the end of the day, the real word that a lot of people use is that it's a very like chill vibe, like, to be in here, because you feel what? comfortable. You know, a lot of people that come in here and they game, they're like saying, man, this feels so comfortable. I'm seeing all the stuff that I only see on TikTok and YouTube, and it's right here in front of me now, and I get to use it and have an opinion on it and come back, because at the end of the day, a lot of people that are into the PCs or into just any of the stuff that we have to offer, they're just kind of tripped out on the whole, I guess, you know, experience that they're receiving. And that's something that we're really trying to push for, is providing an experience to people, right? That, you know,
different types, a variety of things too. You know, you kind of want them to have like, oh, if they're into music, that's something, we have something for you here. If you like talking, doing podcasts, I didn't think that'd be something that we are talking about doing all the time now.
And look at us right now, we're doing a podcast.
Right. And I feel like, you know, doing stuff like this kind of breaks you out of your shell, especially, you know, people looking for hobbies. Like, hey, just why don't you just come in and just talk about what you're into, you know? And then, you know, so you want to use our PCs for gaming, or you want to even use it for, like you said, I think we
digital editing.
Yeah, we were thinking about people that they can use that. And then now we got the lounge area now too. So for consoles, you could just go then play PlayStation if that's what you're into, or rent them out, and we have monitors.
Well,
everywhere.
The main focus nowadays is really the tournaments. That's something that we're really trying to provide, and we'll kind of talk about that and touch on that a lot in today's podcast. But I think a really big thing to talk about is that we're really here for the community. I know we've been trying to reach out to the Boys and Girls Club and trying to get kids in here that, you know, they're just, especially with summer being going on right now, all these kids don't really have a lot to do. Because think about it, just because you're a parent, when summer hits, dude, your schedule doesn't change whatsoever.
Right.
You know, your kid's off school or whatever, but, you know, at the end of the day, you need to go send your kids somewhere.
Yeah,
and
you don't want them sitting home all day bugging you.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just one extra place, you know, in the community where kids or, you know, people that are really interested in what we have to offer can come and experience things like we were talking about earlier with the PCs and the guitars. I remember when I was younger, I wanted to learn how to play the guitar, but I never had that opportunity available in my community. Right. So it'd always be, well, we have to drive all the way, you know, 20 minutes away for you to take a lesson. Because I remember I was trying to get into drums, but the only drum studios when we were living in LA was like in Hollywood or something, because it's a very loud instrument. You have to have a very soundproof type of expensive situation.
And you have to have specific spots too. Like there's a lot of places that, you're being a studio. It's like, no, right next door to you is this guy. That
I mean, we dealt with this with the lease, right? It's like, but what are you trying to do? Drums? No. You know,
absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really, you know, but going back to it, you know, we're trying to really help the community with offering things that you don't see every day, that you can't really have, you know, exposure to every day, you know. And we're right here located, like I said, in Reno still, but just in South Reno off of Double R.
Well, yeah, and these computers we have are top of the line. I mean, we put some money. I mean, not a lot of people can get some of the computers that we have, especially some of the, you know, our friends that are into this kind of stuff. This, like, they barely can afford some of this stuff. It's like, you know, this isn't, you know, stuff that you're just kind of buying for yourself. You're kind of like, I'll slowly pay it off. We obviously did it because of the business, but, you know, for a lot of people, it's kind of like, they look at that price tag on those 480s, 490s. You're like, that's for one part of the computer.
One component. Yeah, you're talking about, hey, do I want to buy my kid a car, or do I want to buy my kid a computer, right? Or even just for yourself being an adult, like you're into expensive hobbies, right? Like you're into dirt biking and you're into like guitars, right? Like all of those things are very expensive, and you could justify it if you're into it. But at the end of the day, when you have to justify something that's expensive, you know, it comes with a price. But yeah, we have these things that, you know, people can't really get their hands on, and that's part of the experience, right? Like what I was saying earlier with the YouTube, like people go on YouTube to look up the 4080 graphics cards, the 4090s, all the things that we have in these PCs, and they're like, man, I wish I could, you know, see what this guy's talking about when he's giving his review. And it's like, no, now you have a place in your community that's offering that to you.
Right, and you can just try it out yourself.
Yeah, I mean, have you gamed on one of the PCs here, Devin?
Yeah.
Like compared to what you have at home, personally, what's your opinion on like having a place now like this in the community where you still have something at home? And I think that's a big misconception that a lot of people are having, because I think that people think just because they have something at home doesn't mean they can come and experience something.
Yeah.
You know, like I get it. You want to stay at home, be in your comfort zone, but this is a place where you can become social. And like I said earlier, you can touch base and see things that you don't normally see.
Right.
You know?
Well, and then you get to talk to other people about it too that are experienced either the same thing, new, or just people that know a lot about this kind of stuff, and you can
Right.
kind of get more info on this kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
just be in this was a completely new thing for me watching I didn't know what a 490, 480 card was.
4080,
Yeah.
4090.
I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know. I had no clue what those things were. But like after talking and doing this with you, I was
Right.
like, oh my gosh, it's a lot bigger deal than
What you thought
than
it was.
I thought it was, for sure. Yeah, and I was like, wow, people really know about this stuff, and it's like important to a lot of people, and some of it's out of reach for some people. And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this place gives opportunity for a lot of people to actually come experience things that
Right.
maybe they just pushed that off to the side for a
Yeah.
little bit after they saw
Well,
the
Devin,
price tag.
did you notice that when you had, going back to that too, did you notice that when you had played on one of these, that you were like, man, this is something that, at least now I get to touch it and see and experience and see what everyone was talking about, the hype.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think you put it best when I first walked in here. It's like your at home car could be like a Honda Civic,
Yep.
but you could rent out a Ferrari for a day to see like how it is.
Exactly.
And like I felt that like difference right away. Like
Right.
the difference between, because I have a 1080 versus
GPU.
versus a 4090, like
9-day.
but it was off the charts. Like because I'm a really competitive gamer, and you notice it right away, and like the advantages it has and the benefits.
So do you like get to understand now that like when people that you're probably playing against, anyone in the world, you can see their reaction times or what they're, it might be that they have a better PC or like what we say here, it's a high performance PC because so just to go over the spec sheet on some of the PCs we have in here, we have an i9 CPU in these things, which is, really geared towards a high performance computer, right? Something where you need that kind of power to be able to play some of these games at a competitive level, right? And then we have the GPU for the graphics. We have, which is the 4080s and 4090s that we were talking about earlier. We have the memory. How many? I think we have 64 gigs 64 gigs of RAM. And then the monitor, which I feel like is very important as well. So when Blake helped us build these PCs, he had really mentioned, man, because I was like, I think a bigger monitor. This is someone that really, just to be honest, I have not really gamed at that level before to understand the difference between a 32-inch monitor that's curved even and a 27-inch monitor. There's a huge difference because when the monitor's bigger, the display is bigger, it's more to look at. Like your eyes are moving more. When it's 27, it's just like that right size. I feel like we have the right size monitor in front of our players because it's just a competitive, the whole thing, it's an advantage because if someone's using a 32-inch screen and you're like you're losing seconds off your reaction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have everything that's needed for people to have the best experience I feel possible.
Right, we're trying to utilize it the best we can too. There's so many things we're doing right now with the tournaments. We didn't even think that tournaments was going to take off.
Oh, and that's now our main priority.
All right.
I feel like with the tournaments, and that's something that we should definitely talk about, is really what we're gearing towards, is being a venue hosting purely tournaments. Right. We definitely will still want everyone to come in and get an hour or 2 hour time of play in, but at the end of the day, we want to offer the experience of playing in competitive tournaments, because going back to what I think I read on Reddit when we had a review posted about us, is that, like what I was touching base on earlier, that people feel like they can game at home. I have a console game or a console at home. I have a PC at home. Why do I need to come in here? Well, we want to offer you the chance to actually even make money with us, right? So we're going to set up tournaments to where everyone's pitching into the pot, and then boom, the venue gets broken off, but so does first, second, and third. And I feel like a lot of people haven't had the opportunity to even experience a tournament. I mean, we've been seeing it a lot with, the Smash tournaments and some of the 2K tournaments and stuff like that that's been going on. But at the end of the day, I feel like your average person that likes to play at home, they play competitively, I guess, like one-on-one, or like if you're playing Madden, right? And you're just like, okay, I'm gonna just search for someone online that's available. Boom, you get someone. That's competitive play. So just put that into motion and come make some money with us, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's always funner to actually be with a group of people. Yeah, socialize with people that, and all of a sudden we have these Smash Bros tournaments, and like we're trying to, working here kind of, but then all of a sudden you kind of hear just people going
going
crazy
yeah.
out there.
Yeah, that
You're like,
competitive
what
feel.
are they doing? And then there's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what? I don't even know what happened.
Well, we can relate to that, or everyone here, I feel like, with basketball, right? If you ever play a pickup game at the gym, some basketball, some competitive basketball, how fun is that?
Yeah.
It's great because you're there, you're with your friends, and it's just you're being competitive. You're out there just trying your hardest, right? And that's the same thing I feel like with gaming. I think that there's a wide community out there where people like to play video games, but some people just haven't experienced that competitive edge of it, though.
All right.
Have you ever played competitively, Devin?
I played a couple online tournaments. The first tournament I ever played was for like Minecraft.
Right.
And it was like this competitive like combat Bed Wars game. And I got first place like right off the bat. And,
Oh,
like,
nice.
That like vibe is the competitive feel versus like playing casually is what I play for.
Right.
Because it's like going back to basketball, because I played basketball for like a majority of my
existence.
Yeah. But like playing not caring, casual, like
Right.
a 3v3, like messing around, it's not as fun as
Nope.
like
There's something you're playing for.
exactly.
When
And
you have that.
that different type of atmosphere, you feel that like your environment change,
Oh.
and that's all part of the experience.
True. Exactly.
Yeah. I played motocross games pretty much all my life, and man, we would have like 4 people playing at the same time.
But then you
racing.
also
It's
raced
so fun.
competitively.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So that's that
Yeah.
same feel.
In the track, there's not every day there's a national track right next door, so it's kind of like, oh yeah, well, on the side, just playing at home, just relaxing, and you still got that competitive kind of whole environment around you. Especially playing with buddies too. Any game is going to be the funnest time ever.
Exactly.
And when everyone's all here and you got like 30 people screaming and stuff, is
Right.
that crazy?
And we're at that time now where, online is it's a thing. People really live for this, right? Like it is very much of a passion, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
almost, you can compare it to playing an instrument.
Well, they
or
were
playing
streaming those Smash Bro tournaments,
yeah,
and how many people are watching online.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
this
'cause
is
it's your
that many
community.
people- yeah, that many people are watching you guys are not even here. Like,
Well, man, look at how big Rocket League has become. I feel like their announcers now, they sound like it's like a professional soccer match.
Yeah.
It's like these guys, they've created one of the largest grossing wise as well. Like the money that goes into like gaming these days is insane. Like look at FaZe Clan. That's like $1 billion, organization right there. And it's all because people are invested into gaming, right? So, but yeah, going back to the tournaments, yeah. So I think that our goal and something that we want to present to the community is a place to come in, a venue, right? A venue, a space, a safe space for you to come in and receive that feeling, that feeling of playing competitively, that feeling of knowing that there's a place here that's going to cater towards things that you don't see, like we were talking about earlier, every day. You're not going to see these PCs or play with these PCs every day. You're not going to come in and have a soundproof studio like what we're in right now. It's just all a part of the experience. And that's something that we want to really, cater towards going forward. And I know that Devin's going to be creating a lot of content showing people what we have here to offer, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get it. It's like a new thing, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hesitation in the beginning. But I feel like once people really start hearing about this more and more and more, which I think is starting to go, like our Instagram right now is like just slowly, like we've built it.
There's a lot of engagement, a lot of people that are interested in who we are and what
seeing
we're
what
doing
next, and like seeing when the next event is. And I feel like we got a lot of lookers right now, but once we just keep going, and then like we're eventually going to have more tournaments, more different styles of people, like these Smash Bro, group. They're not going to want to be, I'm sure, with the COD players. I'm thinking, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
No,
Maybe,
that's the thing. I feel like, and that's something that I want to break the ice with, right? That's something that you try to enter space and try to change, right? Like you have people that are very focused on Fortnite and COD, and they stop playing those games. I feel like everyone kind of grows up even playing or trying an EA Sports game, right?
Yeah.
Like at least once you've played a Madden or something like that, and it might not be your cup of tea, but going back to the competitive nature, I think that if we start having these tournaments, you're going to see people mixing. You're going to see people that are like here on a Fortnite type of day, and then they're going to come in for a Madden just because they're like, I just want to be there.
Right.
I want to be a spectator even. Because we've gotten a lot of people that have asked that as well. Hey, can we just come in and spectate and just watch?
Right. And just kind of, because I feel like, like I said, there's a lot of hesitation right now, but it's kind of like, this is very new for people. It's like you're dipping your toe in the water. You're looking at people have fun, but once you actually get in, I feel like people will start breaking out and start really going like, oh, this is nothing like I've experienced before.
Right. Yeah, we've had a few people, especially lately, that have came in, and it's just been because of just will. They're just like, hey, like you said, they were very hesitant at first, and then when they did, they were like, I sat them down, I showed them the whole venue, I took them on a tour essentially, and then I sat them down, and then they would start playing, let's just say FIFA or COD or Valorant, and they're just like, man, the graphics on this is way different than what I have at my house. Man, this is so fun. When are you guys going to have a FIFA tournament? When are you guys going to have a Fortnite tournament? When are you guys going to have this? And you're just like, that's where we need to go towards. That's what we need to do. We got to give the people what they want.
Right.
And that's what it's sounding like.
And that's what we're kind of trying to be too, as a venue for whatever you guys want to do. Like if you guys want to do podcasts and start, kind of breaking out that way, like I feel like this place is going to break a lot of people out of its shells. Like from the very beginning, we had a bunch of kids come in when we were still building these places, and we were just letting kids in just to try out some of these computers. Like me and you were talking, we were like, this guy, the kid doesn't look like he left his house.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely get those people for sure.
Right.
And we see them, occasionally on certain days where it's just kind of like, man, like, do you ever leave your house? And that's what we want to be. We want to be a place where people feel comfortable to come to, because I get it. Like I said, reading a lot of reviews, people feel very skeptical on the whole, because going back to it, we're not a cyber PC lounge, cafe, whatever. We are a venue.
Right.
We are a venue that's going to be hosting a lot of different events. We've tried to we had the NBA Finals here a few times. We've tried to host UFC sporting events. Yeah, we've tried to host things like that. And, I feel like the engagement at that time, we only had 100 less, or even less than that, people that even knew who we were and what we were doing here. Now we're almost at 500 people, 500 people that are actually engaged and, willing to look at our stories, willing to, even come through the door and see what's going on. So the future's looking bright over here at TechNV.
Yeah, and we got a lot of people that, they don't even know like what we're still planning. Like I said, me and you started talking about this in February. What was that, 4 months ago? When we finally got the building, venue built, our studio's built. Still got some work to do on a couple of things, but we're able to roll right now. And it's like, man, like once we actually get this place a solid year, it's like this place is just going to be a completely different environment. Like this will be a place hopefully people could come in on Saturdays or in the morning or just whenever. We're going to have have a whole coffee station eventually hooked up. We'll have food trucks out here for events. We're talking to the Smash Bros guys that have people a 90 plus. Yeah,
regionals. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's gonna be so many events.
Some venue stuff. We're gonna be doing a lot of venue stuff.
Right, and
stuff
then,
that venues do.
Right. And I'm excited for people to know that we're here to have birthday parties or just having buddies over for sporting events. I know we're gonna every next big UFC fight, we're just gonna have a promotion. It's like, hey, UFC fight's going on. Discounts on playing games or something.
It'll be fun.
There's we have a lot of things coming up. That's for sure.
But as far as like guitars, like what's your experience and like where are you coming from with the guitar side of things?
Yeah.
Like, what's your background, Garrett?
Well, I started playing. I think like right around,
because I don't even think Devin. Have you even heard him? Like I know you heard a few of his songs, but have I showed you content of him actually playing like at a venue or concert?
I think I only watched one of your videos performing somewhere.
So he doesn't even know.
Yeah, I used to perform a lot. I started playing guitar right after around middle school. So I think I started really playing after high school. So I've been playing 10 plus years. After high school, I joined a band with a buddy, and we played in Hollywood a lot. This is before they tore everything down. There's a place called Hout the Moon that I played probably.
You're a regular.
Yeah,
regular
for sure.
performer.
I mean, minimum twice a month, minimum. I was doing a lot of Monday and Wednesday, so sometimes I'd play 3 or 4 times a month. there. I was doing, playing with the band, playing by myself, just acoustically.
Battle of the Bands. Remember
Battle
those?
of the Band. Oh yeah, I played one Battle of the Bands one
Won it.
time. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was like a $4,000 grand prize, I think, for that night. That was like over 30 bands. Yeah, it was a whole like 2-month event. So it was like, like
Every week you
every
progress.
week, yeah. So every week you would play and then go to the next round and so on and so on. But I played all over Hollywood. When the House of Blues was there, there was a bunch of venues that the House of Blues had the Voodoo Lounge,
Viper.
I
Did you
don't
ever
think
play a Viper Room?
I don't think
Was
I
that
ever
shut down?
played.
That's been shut down for a while.
No, the
I think we
Viper
talked
Room's
about
still
this
there.
last
I've
time.
seen some friends play there, but yeah, I don't think I've ever actually played the Viper Room. On the Rocks, I've played, and at the Roxy. Where else? Never played the Whiskey. That's one I always wanted to play. But there was a bunch of venues in the Valley as well, Paladinos. So I just been playing all around. Probably. Man, I want to say like 8 or 9 years. I've been playing just venues all around LA. I played up here one time in Garnerville. I've played there. But yeah, then I had kids and things slowly moved up here to
Typical
Reno.
damn
and then,
kids.
Yep, and then then kind of put the whole music thing on hold. I had some recordings. I got some recordings on Spotify. I was teaching guitar after I was still playing venues, but then I kind of went into teaching for a while. So I've been slowly transitioning into that. And teaching's been great, just teaching all kind of new stuff and learning what's out now.
Teaching during COVID virtually.
Right, yeah.
I didn't even think that was possible to like,
that was
all
amazing
right,
thing.
hold that note. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, that was a big thing for a while. I didn't like it very much. I like the more one-on-one kind of personal stuff, but during
Yeah.
COVID, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
So I was teaching during COVID. I probably, taught for about 2 years or so. And then, and then me and you just randomly started talking about opening something up. And I was like, we found this spot, and I was like, this would be perfect for a studio. And then we thought about doing a podcast. We're like, man, have you ever heard of a podcast studio where you could just go do a quick podcast? And I didn't. I'm not in LA, that's for sure. And yeah, I was like, man, that'd be a great idea if there was just like an easy spot you could go to.
And just rent it out.
Yeah, rent it out or rent out the equipment. We have some of the top of the line podcast stuff right now. These Sures are like, basically the minimum you would need for a professional podcast.
Yeah, the SM7Bs are awesome. These things sound great.
Yeah, they sound amazing. And you can use these for singing songs. We have another Shure acoustic, not
Like
acoustic, it's
instrumental.
instrumental, instrumental recording mic. We got this Rode,
The Rodecaster.
Rodecaster.
The Rodecaster.
we got the board all set up. And I mean, as you guys could probably see in here, I feel like it sounds great. And yeah, we're trying to give this spot, people the opportunity to just come in here, talk their podcast. I would know so many people that aren't even musicians, but that would just love to just come and just talk.
Well, you touched
about.
on it earlier. Like, we're in a space where there's a lot of local businesses that you're giving an opportunity to come in and use the space to, promote their business and to start their own thing. Like, I know when we first had met with the next door neighbor, she was like, man, I'm not into like the PCs and stuff like that, but that room, even Ash said the same thing. The guy that owns the Taekwondo studio down the way, he was like, yeah, I definitely want to use the podcast situation for, promotion and things like that. And
and we got this guy coming in tomorrow too, and I told him, and he came in here and was just like, oh, hold on, I've never seen
trip
something
out on
like
this.
that.
A lot of people think that they don't have a lot to talk about, but like with
Then you
Ash,
start talking.
yeah,
then you
like
just go
Ash
forever.
owns that Taekwondo studio, but they travel everywhere. And he's been teaching for, I would say, 10 plus years. You know how many kids that you've touched on? Like, not like that, but like,
Touched? maybe not touched, but yeah, no, I got you.
No, yeah, like how many lives you've impacted
Right.
by teaching them like something like that's beneficial,
Right.
Like Taekwondo, your self-defense.
Right.
How many stories do you think he's probably heard of? Like, man, I was in a fight, and man, good thing that I had learned from you. Like, I came in here and got the skills needed to defend myself, right? And he does he's won like a few tournaments himself personally. Like, I know he has a really big resume, but dude, he could just come in here and just start talking game.
Oh, yeah.
And but they haven't had this here, so what are you gonna do? Like, I tell people this all the time. Same thing with the PCs, same thing with every piece of equipment we have here, because it's very, I think, like catered towards a craft of like, it's not something that like you fall into with knowing if you're going to be doing it tomorrow, right? It's like a very niche subject, like editing and recording and doing all of that. You can say you want to do it, go purchase the equipment, then the next day you're like, this is too hard, I'm over it.
Oh yeah.
So this is a place for you to come and test the waters,
right?
And then find out if this is your thing or not,
right? Well, yeah, I think we've had some guys come in here as well, just to try it out, and then it
never came back.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's what happens. Like, oh man, it's so simple, but it's like, yeah, you don't realize that the soundproof in here is not going to be like your basement or your bedroom, and all this stuff is like it's set up for comfort and ease, and we want to make this like easy for people, not like, oh yeah, just to let you know, you got to get this. I mean, just to do a simple podcast, you have to. I mean, your minimum for a decent podcast room, not even talking about the room, but just the equipment, you're talking minimum $5,000, which is crazy for some people. It's like, oh yeah, let me just start off with that. It's like, oh yeah, you always want to do something like that.
Like we've known people that have tried to come in here with their buddies, and even if you're trying to be like, okay, that's way too expensive for us, let's go out on our own and do it ourselves. Then you go to the Guitar Center, or you go to Amazon,
and
you start looking, and you're like,
how much are these mics?
Yeah, how much are the mics?
Yeah. Then you gotta get the cables, and you gotta get the arms.
Well,
and
the
you
whole
got the
thing is you do
headphones.
research, right? I mean, I know you're big on doing research before you buy or get into anything, but it's like you research the price points between equipment, and you can't really skimp out if you're trying to actually do things that look nice.
If you want,
if you want top dog and you want quality, the quality is going to be costing you over this amount, so for you to justify, wanting to jump into podcasting, if you're going to spend less than what you just said, then you're not going to get the quality. And then in a year or two, when you actually get good at it, then you're going to be like, oh shit, now we got to invest in it. So you're paying more than you need to when you could just come here and just run.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of kids too, they kind of think, oh yeah, you just plug it in and just get it going. It's like, oh no, you got to know how to use the board. You got to know how to use the software. You got to get everything set up right. You got to know what to talk about. It's like not just, you just get into something. It's like, you got to practice, just like anything, you got to practice. I mean, this is a great place to practice doing podcasts, to see if you're into it.
Devin's had a podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Only for a little bit. It was called the Loop Records podcast, and we just talked everything about music.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just like relevant music, or like music that you guys have been into, or like what
music news,
or what is it? We wanted to be like justify and talk like music opinions and stuff, and like upcoming music coming out. Like our first pilot episode was around the time. End of the year last year, Spotify released their Spotify Wrapped and Apple Music, and our pilot episode was letting our like music recap introduce us.
Oh, okay.
To like introduce like our music taste and stuff, and that was like our first episode. I'm trying to get the guys back together to use this studio.
Oh, 100%.
To continue the podcast.
Yeah, bring it in.
But yeah.
But it goes back to, it's because you see the quality of equipment that's here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that makes a huge difference when you're trying to actually get into it, right? Because if you don't have not just the equipment, but it's like if you don't have a place to go to, like where were you guys recording?
We're just on Discord.
Oh man,
using webcams.
Right.
One of my friends was using a headset mic. I had a Blue Yeti.
So it was all over the place.
Yeah, all over. I had to edit like each individual audio to stay the same decibels and stuff.
Right. Well, a lot of people don't understand too. It's like, hey, after it's like podcasts. I mean, to me at least, I could listen to things like on the car rides and stuff, but like most of the time, I like to watch and see.
Yeah, you want to see video.
People. Yeah, see the video, and I mean, so we got we got the top quality cameras right now that you can use, and then you got to link it up. Like, does everyone know how to do all that?
So you have the audio. And then you're adding the video, and then you need to find someone that knows how to edit it. So if you're not one of those people, then you're not in the podcast with your boys.
Yeah.
You know, like you better be that guy that's like, all right, so we got John, we got Jane, we got this. Okay, do you know how to edit though? All right, you can't be in it then. Like,
exactly.
You know, because that's going to cost you money, right?
Right. But yeah, I mean, the podcast thing was actually, I mean, when we first started talking, that wasn't even what we were trying to get into that. But, it's just another branch of an opportunity for people in Reno to like come out and experience something that breaks them out of their shell, talks about things that they want to talk about, business, blah, 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 and music. Like I could probably talk all day just talking about, okay, what do you want to talk about? Oh, 80s music?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a whole hour podcast just on that,
Yeah. So people just need to think about what they want to say, and because everyone has something to say, but you got to just expand that out.
Yeah.
But
so we're trying to we already talked about what lessons we have a lounge area. We didn't even get to that in the back where you can rent out on yourself.
That's gonna be secret, Garrett. We're gonna keep that under wraps.
Oh, it's gonna be our personal.
Yeah.
We got all those monitors for ourselves.
No, we're gonna keep it under wraps until it's fully done.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
But it's
It'll get there.
This place
It still gets used.
yeah, it still does get used. It does. But we have to do a huge tour video that we post online. I know Devin's gonna want to work on that pretty soon. Once we get a lot of people, starting to engage with us a little bit more, like I would say we should do like a good tour video, maybe at like 700 followers.
Yeah.
800. Yeah, like
I've
700
been
or 800.
saving that video.
Yeah, because it's going to be crazy because I think a lot of people, we do post here and there of like snippets of what the place looks like a little bit. But this guy that came in last night, he was like, dude, like you really don't get this when you look on Instagram, like on all the reels or whatever we posted in the past. He's like, I never would have imagined that this was going to look like this in person. So that's a good, thing to hear. That
photos make everything look a lot smaller. You're like, then you walk in, you're like, oh, wow, yeah.
Well, even like the quality, right? I know like when Devin had made your top 5 favorite things about this place? I think like when you say like, okay, like the secret lab chairs. Okay, like to me that just sounds like a cool, fancy gaming chair, I guess, whatever. But then you come in and you sit in it and everyone's just like, dude, this thing just feels so comfortable, Like people get really into the quality aspect now because you're seeing it and you're touching it and it's right there in front of you.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely something different than even in LA, we've seen multiple gaming cafes, all that kind of stuff. But then you go in there and it's just
but those
grimy.
Are like crusty.
Yeah, crusty and grimy, and then you always get the same guy sitting in there, and then the chairs are all ripped.
Let's ask Devin because I think like he hasn't been here as much as we have. Clearly, we've literally lived and died here
a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but like when you first came in, or even today, like, do you get that sense? Like, because we definitely are going for a very specific aesthetic, right? Like we want it to look clean. We want it to smell clean. We want it to, I just want people to understand, like we are putting a lot of effort into making it feel like it's not a grimy place.
Right.
Because they're even like going to a bar, like sometimes I go to a bar out here, like go to a restaurant and you're just like, I was very big, especially before COVID, man. Like I'll tell you a little funny thing. Like I was really big on like only asking for plastic forks because I was very like, you're, because I think it was maybe one bad experience where someone brought me a fork or whatever and it had like when you put in a the dishwasher and it still leaves like the little crumbs and stuff on it. And I was like, and like even that whole experience, like the table felt dirty, like you just felt like the musty in there, right, in this restaurant. And I was like, man, if I was the owner of this restaurant, I'd be so like embarrassed because it's like the gross feeling in the air is just something that sticks with the customer and you never go back.
Right.
So I think like, especially after COVID and learning about germs and learning, especially because we have people that are coming in here using the same equipment. Like we've been talking about making videos showing the customers how much we care about like cleaning and all that stuff, like doing a cleaning video with the keyboards. Remember that?
Yeah, the deep clean.
Showing people like how much effort actually goes in every time it's being used here.
Right.
But yeah, that's a big thing. Did you feel that like today when you walked in? Like, did it feel like, man, you're walking into a space and you wouldn't know that like there was like 60 people here on Thursday?
Yeah, what is it? When I first walked in, like my first ever time that same day I DM'd you guys.
Right.
What is it? I instantly like knew like a majority of your personality, just how the place looks.
Right.
Like most people, I do, but most people don't appreciate like the aesthetic feel, like the brick walls, the greenery mixed with the brick walls, and then going into the tech space, the nano leaves, and then the bare bricks, like showing their like fashion and culture.
Well, that was one of the things that when we were talking about this, that we wanted, like we didn't want people to think that this was a computer store to let me just borrow it so I could go on the internet real quick, which is we wanted it to be like like almost like theme park kind of feel where you're going there to like, oh, this is
it's
like
an experience.
Yeah, exactly. Experience the whole thing. So
and especially being in Reno, there's not many places like this at all.
Right. In LA, that's the one thing I think we've taken from us. And we'll talk about all this too in another episode on where we're from and our origins. I know Garrett touched a little bit about, his guitar side of things, but we definitely want to talk about how we got to where we are today and why we live in Reno. We originally did come from LA, but like I said, we'll talk about that in another episode. But that is one thing that we did bring with us from living in California or in LA, is that there was restaurants and bars and the themes, like the people that own these places, they took that next level of creativity because they wanted you to enter their business and know that you're paying for the experience of being there.
Well, like you said, and even coming from LA, it's like if you don't have like if you open a restaurant and you're next to a restaurant that is just so much nicer, you're not going to stand the competition
100%.
in LA. So we've experienced other businesses just by seeing the type of competition in LA is one of the reasons we probably left. But it's like there's just so many people that, like, if you're not on top of your game down there, you're going to fail. I mean, for how much it costs down there, if your place isn't nice, making want people at least come back within a certain amount of time or whatever it is, then you don't have you're not so we want people to come in and just right off the bat go, holy crap.
And I feel like that's that big city though, because you just were recently in Seattle, right, Devin? Like, there are places like that also in Seattle where you walk into I know you're big on going to coffee shops, and Cheyenne and even Jess, like, they're into going to coffee shops. You know why? It's the experience.
Right, exactly.
Fucking coffee tastes the same, bro.
Oh, right.
Like, I don't care what anyone says, dude. I'm a very basic person when it comes to my coffee. I just like a double shot of espresso over ice. That's it. I just need a black coffee, you know? Like, getting all fancy with...
I mean, that goes back to what I was saying. If you want to open a coffee shop down anywhere, even in Reno, to be honest, and all your walls are white, you're not going to stand a chance.
No. There needs to be a story there.
Right.
You
need to have some decorations. It's like, no one's just going to come to get coffee and just be like, oh.
Either that or their social, like they're I don't know, dude. They're doing something. Because there are those places, maybe one, where it's like that place is good and it's so basic, but maybe that's their theme, right? Yeah. Like their whole theme is that they're just so fucking basic. Like, like that's what
it
better
be
cool.
The best damn coffee. That brand of coffee better be best. Like,
exactly. But yeah, that's the theme that we're going for is clean aesthetic and just giving that experience.
Right.
Like that.
Well, and safety too. So that's another thing we probably didn't touch on, which I'll keep it short, but we want, even parents to be able to be comfortable after school, summertime, winter times, when school's off, be able to come in here, drop their kids off, and know that we got some of the top security and we spent a nice, pretty penny on. Yeah. We got cameras on every room. We got cameras in the front. So no matter what, we know. We
have our eye.
Well, exactly.
We have our eye on you.
Yeah.
but ultimately, I think that the safety part of it goes back to the experience as well. Because when we had decided, being comfortable, because for me, I want to be able to put my gaming headphones on, or even like with us being in this studio right now, tucked away, that the door is locked. You can't access just coming in here no matter what, right? And it's also because when someone does have an appointment or we know that people are coming, you come in, the door remains locked, and then you can obviously leave at any point. But if someone's sitting in a gaming chair, or like what I was saying, being in here, and you're just like, man, I know that no one can just walk in or walk behind me. I know who's around me and who I'm surrounded by, and that's a really good extra feeling. Like I feel like that's like the cherry on top of like the experience. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think that there's a lot of places where, one, there's a lot of people here, like your sister, prime example. Like, she can't go anywhere because she doesn't trust anybody. Right. She's like, I hate just being around random people, But it's like, we've had the experiences where there's people that come in here and then they leave and they're like, oh shit, I can't open the door. What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. No, bro, that's on purpose.
Right, exactly. Everybody that walks through in here, they're going to walk right by me and you. Yeah. So it's like, there's rarely, besides maybe the tournaments where there were just like too many people at one time sometimes. But and just in general, we know what's going on. We know who's in here. Yeah. We know somebody that knows somebody that's in here. We so I mean, we try to make this as safe as possible. I feel like it's.
And we've had kids in here, young kids. I think the youngest kids, you were here that day too, Devin, when we had those kids. They were probably like 5 or 6.
Oh yeah, they came in.
And Devin had I think you had even asked me, like, are you letting like that young, not that we're discouraging towards like a certain age group, but we want it to be known that, if you feel like your kid's responsible and they're going to take care of all the things that we've mentioned here today, with having the nice equipment, having the aesthetic look like remain intact, that it's, we trust that the community is going to come in here and be responsible, right?
Right.
Because you want to let nice things remain in Reno.
Mhm.
Because when you start, fucking around in here
Right.
and letting your kids destroy our stuff, or even a grown adult coming in here, just touch it. Like there was a kid here the other day, I actually got mad at him. And the customer's always right, 100%. But when you become disrespectful, we do not tolerate that. Like 100%.
Oh, yeah, definitely not.
There was someone that came in here and like wiped their hands on one of the chairs. Like they just like went like that. And I went up to him and I told him, I was like, hey, like, I felt like you kind of disrespected not just my property, but the community property, because these other people want to use and keep on using nice chairs.
Right.
But when
exactly.
you come in, you wipe
Greasy
your hands,
fingers, yeah.
greasy fingers, and you're wiping it on the stuff. That means that I'm going to, as a business owner, I'm going to say, maybe we shouldn't be buying nice shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we should just buy some old, like that's just the first thought that goes into my head,
Right.
which kind of sucks because as a business owner, obviously we're trying to make sure that the customers are happy. But from the customer side of things, if you want to keep on using nice stuff, let's take care of it.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
So, and that's just how I feel about it. And I know you feel the same way too.
Oh, heck yeah. It's like, man, it's like, we're not going to keep buying nice stuff if this gets ruined.
If it gets ruined, time out. Like you're not getting anything nice anymore.
Right,
So.
exactly. So yeah, we want to make, as the best possible experience you can, and sometimes that costs money, and if people are treating it like they're just going to a movie
lost your
theater,
chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're getting the shitty stuff. You're gonna get the what's like you're gonna get the Amazon chair. You know those chairs
Right.
on Amazon, they're the gaming chairs, but they're like $40.
Oh, we'll go and
$50.
offer me. I'll go and offer me. Get a couple
Garrett is
ones
the
if that's the
king.
way
He
you guys
will.
want. Heck
He
yeah.
will. You guys will mess up and lose the Shae perspective on buying expensive stuff. Garrett's
Nope.
gonna be like, nope, my turn.
Gone.
It's gone. You lost your chance.
Yep,
They're going to
they're
offer
done.
up. This chair's going to be used. Like, dude, it's going to be one of those chairs that's been
Yep,
used by
you're sitting
3
on
other people.
springs.
Sitting on springs. Like, there's that, dude, the chair's going to be on offer up like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to see like the history.
Yeah.
Like, there's been 3 owners. They all put it back on offer up. And now we have it here at TechNV. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Sometimes that's the way you gotta go. I mean, if that's the kind of base we're getting.
true
but-
though. If it's nice,
we've been kind of scoping. Like we know, like we got a specific type of customer, but
I think we do at this point.
yeah, like we know if someone's super shady, we're gonna
Because at the end of the day, you want the environment to remain like what we're
Right.
saying, safe,
right?
And you want your not just kids, bro, but like even like people our age that are
Right.
coming in here, and they're just they're not trying to be around a certain type of vibe,
Right, exactly.
Like if a customer comes in, obviously we're not trying to say that we would deny anyone from coming in here, but it's like if you get that one chance, because everyone gets a chance with us, right? Especially with the new business, you're gonna get that chance. But if we see that you're doing something that's against our like our morals and like what we're trying to have here, like value wise, then we're gonna have to say something and figure that out.
No, definitely. I mean, if you go to a nice restaurant, you're not just gonna go in some basketball shorts and a tank top. It's like dress for where you're going, and respect where you're going.
Act accordingly.
Yeah,
and respect the
exactly.
environment.
I mean, come on. That's what we're trying to be. We're trying to get people to experience some nice stuff, and if you can't respect that, then things are going to change.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I guess like the last thing like we should probably even touch on is like Devin, like overall, I know you've kind of voiced your opinion on some of the experience that you've had here, but like overall, like do you see a bright future here at TechNV? Like do you see this business like expanding and like do you see a longevity here?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I touched on it in the beginning of the podcast. It's like it's endless possibilities of what like a virtual reality place would be.
Mhm.
Like we can open up into many branches with this venue.
All right.
Like you said, our tournaments, or we could be a venue for like a esports team locally and
Yep.
stuff. And it's just what is it? It can go really far if the work is still there.
Mhm.
We just have
Right.
to plant our roots,
Yeah.
and then everything would go accordingly. Like we have to like implement and like make that foundation of the workflow.
Right. And I think that goes back to, I think that the perception of Reno, especially, not just Sparks or, just this area in general, has been that businesses like this, they would say wouldn't be able to make it because they think that people here don't want something like this. When
Right.
I beg to differ. I think that people, because we've been proven, right or correct that, there is people here that want a space like this.
Yeah.
But we have to cater, and that's why, we want to be very, community oriented when we're, conducting a lot of our decisions on the career path, or not career path, the growth and the path that we want the business to take. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that everyone's getting taken care of. So if people love tournaments, you know what we're doing right now? We're gearing towards tournaments. That's where we're headed, right? So, we want to be here for the community. That's like my biggest take. I'm sure you probably feel the same way.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd love to, I can't wait to get more students and just be in here and be able to teach because, I love teaching, especially for people that are willing to learn. So it's like, I feel like it's a great, Reno's not really known to be a music city, but you never know. Maybe we can try to change
same thing
that.
with gaming, right? Same thing with gaming. So we're here to prove people wrong and also be here for people that want us to be here.
Right,
so
exactly.
I'd like to end on that note.
There, let's do it. Can't wait for episode 2.
Let's do it, guys. Well, we look forward to seeing all you guys in here. We definitely want to, get engagement from everyone, and Devin's going to be on top of a lot of the content like we mentioned earlier, and any feedback helps. So when we drop this video, comment, subscribe, and
visit all our socials. We're everywhere.
Our socials. Yeah, we're on Instagram, Reno TechNV. And we still got to figure out the Reno TechNV, the podcast YouTube. We got to get a YouTube name for the podcast. So that's something that you'll probably take. Yeah, you'll take care of that. And, we'll blurt it out on Instagram, or Devin will. And thank you guys.
See you all soon.
Yeah, see you all soon. Have a good one.
Now this is the outro.
The outro is the intro, and the intro is the outro. Later.